Have you ever considered what the United States political landscape might look like if it weren't dominated by the Republican and Democrat duopoly? It's an intriguing proposition, one that has the potential to completely upend our understanding of American politics. Breaking the two-party system could lead to a variety of outcomes. For one, it could breed a more diverse political ecosystem, with multiple parties representing a wider range of ideologies. This could result in more nuanced and varied policy debates, and potentially lead to more collaborative and compromise-based governance. On the other hand, it could also lead to increased political fragmentation. In a multi-party system, no single party may be able to secure a majority, leading to greater reliance on coalitions. While this might encourage cooperation, it could also result in instability if parties struggle to find common ground. Moreover, introducing more political parties could potentially disrupt entrenched interests, shaking up the status quo. For instance, consider the recent bipartisan congressional bill targeting credit card swipe fees. This bill, which has the potential to disrupt established financial institutions, has faced opposition from powerful entities like airlines and banks. In a more diverse political landscape, such radical legislation could potentially find more support. Similarly, look at the tech industry. Antitrust legislation aimed at curbing the power of tech giants like Google and Apple has faced significant pushback. Yet, in a political arena not dominated just two parties, these bills could gain traction, leading to a more competitive digital marketplace. These are just two examples of how a shift away from the Republican-Democrat duopoly could potentially impact policymaking. Yet it's important to remember that such a shift would also come with its own set of challenges. In conclusion, breaking the Republican-Democrat duopoly could lead to a more diverse and nuanced political landscape, potentially disrupting entrenched interests and leading to more varied policy debates. However, it could also result in increased political fragmentation and instability. In recent years, we've seen an alarming trend in the American political landscape: the growing polarization between the two major parties, the Democrats and Republicans. This has reached such an extent that local races are becoming less about presenting and implementing effective solutions for the community and more about defeating the other party. The focus is shifting away from the core issues that affect everyday lives and instead is being directed towards painting one's own candidate as perfect, while opposing the other party at all costs. This polarization has led to a situation where local politicians are often seen abandoning their standpoints on actual issues that matter to the people. Instead, they invest their energy and resources into creating an image of perfection around their candidate. The result? A political arena that is more about rivalry than about substantial progress. This growing trend is not only detrimental to the democratic process, but it also hinders the development of effective policies. Instead of focusing on creating meaningful change, politicians are stuck in an endless loop of one-upmanship, trying to outdo their opponents at every turn. This focus on party rivalry over policymaking is a concerning trend in American politics. But what if there was a way to break this cycle? This brings us to the concept of coalitions, a political structure that is largely alien to US politics, but necessary for a system with more than two parties to work. Stay tuned as we delve into this in the next scene. Before we delve into the possibility of coalitions in the US, let's take a global journey and explore how coalition systems work in other countries, specifically non-monarchies like Germany and France. In Germany, a country known for its strong multi-party system, no single party typically holds a majority in the Bundestag or lower house of parliament. This necessitates the formation of coalitions to govern effectively. Similarly, in France, the country's semi-presidential system, often multiple parties working together in the National Assembly, their lower house of parliament. Both these systems involve a delicate dance of negotiation and compromise, as parties must work together to form a government. This isn't always a smooth process. Disagreements on policy can often lead to lengthy negotiations. Yet despite these challenges, these countries have demonstrated that coalition systems can indeed function effectively in democratic nations. The beauty of these coalition systems is that they allow for a wider representation of political ideologies and interests. This is because smaller parties, which might otherwise be marginalized in a two-party system, get a chance to wield influence. Parties that might have differing views on certain issues find common ground on others, allowing for a more nuanced and comprehensive approach to policymaking. Moreover, these systems foster a culture of cooperation and compromise. Political parties are encouraged to work together rather than against each other to achieve common goals. This leads to a more balanced and inclusive form of governance, where a wide range of perspectives are considered and incorporated into policy decisions. Scene 3. Envisioning the potential of coalition systems in the US. Now, let's turn our attention to the United States, a country ripe for the benefits and evolution a coalition system could bring. It poses the question, how can coalitions revolutionize American politics? Contrary to many large developed nations, the US has traditionally operated under a two-party system, with Democrats and Republicans steering the helm. Yet within this landscape, numerous smaller parties such as the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, among others, are vibrant voices waiting to be amplified within a coalition government. Imagine this, a Congress where power is not monopolized by one party, but distributed among Democrats, Republicans, and various smaller parties. This collaborative approach would necessitate negotiation and alliance building, fostering a diverse range of views reflected in policy making. This vision isn't just a dream, it's a reality successfully implemented in many countries with robust coalition governments. Yes, transitioning to a coalition system has its hurdles, but they are not insurmountable. While the need for consensus might seem like a potential speedbreaker, it ensures that decisions are well thought out and inclusive. The shift would also call for significant overhaul of the electoral system, such as adopting proportional representation, thereby paving the way for smaller parties to have an equal shot at securing seats. The American public's reaction might be mixed initially. They may appreciate the multifaceted political landscape a coalition brings, the stability of a two-party system, or the dynamism of a coalition. It's a conversation the nation ought to have. Next up, we'll delve deeper into these challenges, but more importantly, we'll discuss innovative solutions to them. Stay tuned as we unveil the vast potential of breaking free from the two-party system. As we venture further into the concept of breaking the two-party system, let's delve into the steps that could potentially lead to a coalition system in the United States. First and foremost, a significant shift in public opinion would be required. The American public would need to be open to the idea of a multi-party system and willing to vote for smaller parties. This could be facilitated through public education campaigns and grassroots movements aimed at promoting the benefits of a more diverse political landscape. Secondly, changes to the electoral system would be needed. The current first-past-the-post system tends to favor the two major parties, so a shift towards proportional representation could provide a more level playing field for smaller parties. This would involve a significant overhaul of the electoral process and would likely face legal and political challenges. A third hurdle is the potential for political instability. As we've seen in other countries, coalition governments can be less stable than two-party systems, as they're often dependent on the support of multiple parties. However, this instability could be mitigated through the use of formal coalition agreements, which set out the terms and conditions of the coalition and provide a framework for decision-making. Lastly, the transition to a coalition system would require the support of the major parties. This could be the most significant hurdle, as both the Democrats and Republicans have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo. However, if public opinion shifts significantly, the major parties may be forced to adapt or risk losing relevance. Now that we've discussed the steps towards a coalition system, let's delve into the question of who might initiate this change. It's likely that the push for a coalition system would come from a variety of sources. Firstly, smaller political parties would have the most to gain from such a transition. By breaking the two-party dominance, they would have a greater chance of influencing policy and gaining representation. Therefore, they could be expected to spearhead campaigns for change. Secondly, individual politicians dissatisfied with the constraints of the two-party system might also champion the cause. These could be politicians who feel their ideas and policies are not adequately represented within the current system. Thirdly, grassroots movements and the general public could play a crucial role. As we discussed earlier, a significant shift in public opinion would be necessary for such a change to occur. Therefore, advocacy groups and citizens passionate about diversifying the political landscape could be key initiators. Lastly, the major parties themselves could, under certain circumstances, initiate the change. If they perceive a shift in public sentiment and believe that adapting to a coalition system would be in their best interest, they may choose to lead the transition. If the US were to suddenly have several new parties, where would they come from, and who would form them? Let's explore this intriguing possibility. New parties could emerge from existing factions within the major parties. For instance, the progressive wing of the Democrats or the libertarian segment of the Republicans might decide to establish their own entities. They could be formed by influential individuals or groups dissatisfied with the current system. High-profile figures, like business leaders or social activists, who have the resources and public influence, could create new parties that align with their visions. The positions and voting base of these new parties would likely reflect a mix of existing ideologies and new perspectives. They could draw support from diverse demographics, appealing to voters who feel underserved by the current two-party system. The emergence of new parties would add a fascinating dynamic to the US political landscape, potentially leading to a more diverse and representative system. In the next scene, we'll delve into the possible outcomes of a multi-party system in the US. Welcome back, everyone. We've dug into the potential of a coalition system in the US. Now let's explore the possible aftermath of such a shift. The initial effect of a multi-party system could be a variety of political ideologies existing within our government. This suggests that overlooked or marginalized issues could find a louder voice. For example, minor parties could stress more on particular topics like environmental policies, digital rights, and income inequality. And that's not all. The transition could usher in more policy-making. With various parties contributing, the policy-making process could be more wide-ranging and balanced, moving away from a simple winner-takes-all mentality that often escalates political tensions. We could witness a spectrum of viewpoints being regarded, leading to more inventive solutions that echo the diverse realities of the American society. The potential benefits of lessening the intense polarization that influenced events like the 2016 election and 2021 coup attempt are worth considering. This shift could be a step towards mending the nation after the political extremism that resulted in disastrous aftermaths like the 2021 coup attempt. Discussing the future of American politics, we find it filled with uncertainty yet thrilling prospects. A shift to a multi-party system might bring us a step closer an inclusive democracy. Navigating these uncharted waters definitely requires an open mind from everyone. This change might pose a challenge, but on the flip side, it could usher in an era of innovation and a fresh perspective. Thanks for being a part of this enlightening journey. Stay informed, stay engaged, and always remember your voice matters.